I'm Matt with K15T, and today we are going to talk about getting started with Confluence databases. And I am so thrilled. This is my favorite part of the month. I absolutely love doing live streams because, yes, indeed, we are live. Hi, Brittany. Hi. Oh, my goodness. Bimbanshi. I hope I'm not butchering your your name there. My phone is trying to join the live stream right now. It's okay. Stop. Phone, get off the live stream. What are you doing? It's wonderful to have you all here. Hey, Andrew. Hey, Christian. Hey, everybody. Let your friends know we are jumping into databases here today. Databases are so exciting to me for multiple reasons that I will get into. And it's kind of a fun connection that I have to databases. So first off, just a couple of housekeeping things. We are live. Jump in the live chat. Throw in your questions, comments, and clever remarks. They are all welcome there. Good morning, Mark from Philly. I'm a bit north of you, Mark. I hope you're having lovely weather there like we are here. Hey, Carl. So first off, this is the part where I would say that we have Mixmaster Stefan in the chat who will be dropping in useful resources and answering your questions. But unfortunately today, he is sick, Master Stefan. That's right. Stefan is sick. So, hold one up for Stefan as he recovers. But we do have some other fun special guests in the live chat with us today, starting with Christina, who is the fantastic product manager of Confluence databases. And I have known Christina for a bit because prior to being the PM of Confluence databases, Christine was the PM of, there's Christina in the chat, was the PM for the wonderful Confluence whiteboards, which I would like to do a live stream about soon. Christina's joining us, so feel free to ask questions. Christina is fairly new to the PM role, so we're here to encourage her as she steps into a bold new part of the product and really make it shine the way we know that it should. And also we have Sammy, who is a designer on the team. I want to say that we can thank Sammy for some of the amazing new work that was just done on views over the last few weeks. I'm not positive on that, but fantastic work, databases team. I love the views so much. So we are going to be having a ton of fun here. I am looking at the live stream, keeping track of what it is y'all are talking about. Morning, Lance. And I wanted to kind of kick things off by asking the question, what interrelated information do you work with? And you might think to yourself, I don't really work with interrelated information. That's a weird question. I don't know what that means. I'm a simple product marketer. What does interrelated information mean? Or I'm an event planner, or I'm a product manager, or whatever. Interrelated information is something that we all work with every day, whether we know it or not. So let's have a brief history lesson and go back and look at how it is we as people have been trying to keep our information orderly. Shall we? So, if we go back in time just a little bit, we can explore the evolution of the database. At very first, we started by writing things down, right? And writing has been a fantastic tool for us as we have been exploring, organizing thoughts. In fact, a lot of experts say that without writing, we wouldn't have story. So first, we would write things using punctuation. So we have commas separating things. So the sessions for the event will be this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. And the speakers will be these people as well. And so we then obviously had trouble reading this, and that's where jots and dashes and numbers came in. And that's why we have bulleted and numbered lists, which we have used in our apps for a very long time. And you can see this has brought a lot of visual clarity here. I can see the sessions and I can see the speakers, and this is great. And I could even say things like know what? I'm gonna jump into edit mode here and I can say the speaker for this is Pablo, right? Oh, that's fantastic. And the speaker for this is Erica. And this is great because we have little pieces of information that are interrelated. I can see these are sessions. Here's the name of the session. Here's the person speaking. But this starts to get complicated when I'm like, okay, but Erica has a dietary preference. So where do I put that? Does that go in the speaker list? Does that go in the session list? I mean, really the two are interconnected. So what do we do? So the next thing we do, the screen is frozen. It sure is. OBS, what are you doing? Good Lord. Livestream is really acting up. My goodness, friends, I'm so sorry. OBS is just waking up for the day. Whew, it's a bit late, and we're not on the West Coast application. All right, so now we have tables, and tables are great because we can see a list of all the sessions and speakers and dietary needs, but also we can see how the information is interconnected. Yeah, there are a few glitches with the time machine here today, Christian. I think you and I have talked about how handy a time machine might actually be. Especially as a technical writer, there are some things I wish I could go back and change. So a table is great because I can start to see how things interconnect in this way. But things start to break down because all of the information is just in one place. And I need to share this in other places. Like, what if I need to share with someone the list of all of the sessions that we have or all of the dietary needs that we have? Then I start to copy and paste. And so in Confluence, we had this other thing that was added called a page properties macro. And with the page properties macro, you could drop the same kind of table in it and then use a different macro to create reports. So if we had page properties on many different pages, we could put the page property report on one page and then display all of those interrelated pieces of information in one place, which was great, kind of dynamic, collecting information up. But the problem was I had to go to the original page where this table lives to update that information. So still, you know, a bit troublesome. So now we have Confluence databases. And what we can see here is I have all the same information. Here's the name of the session and the speaker and the date and the time, many, many things here, but we can do incredibly powerful things with databases like change the way the data looks or filter for the content. So maybe we want to look at the content for a totally different conference. Well, that doesn't actually make sense because I don't have any sessions set up for that. We can hide fields, we can show fields. What databases let us do is have this same sort of familiar structure of a table, but move our information around and interconnect it. And I know that sounds all bold and crazy, but let me just show you what this can look like. Here is a blog post where I, as an event planner, I'm communicating, here's what's going on with the event. I'm writing here, hey, here are the speakers for the event. Here they all are. Here are their speaker photos so that everybody knows kind of who are the headline speakers, what's coming up, that sort of thing. Cool, great. And then I can also share, here are the sessions that are coming up. Here they all are. I can see who the speakers are. Very cool. I could even, click to learn more about the speaker. I've messed with my Zoom settings here, so I can fix that a little bit. So here I could see, okay, the speaker is Pablo, consultant from Mexico. Very cool. I can see the track this session is in. Okay, this is in the Smart Strategies track. Okay, this is helpful for me to know as a person who's viewing this blog. And then I can even look at a list of the sponsorships for the event and see who is sponsoring, what tier they're sponsoring in. And again, I can click to learn more. This is the power of databases. Yeah, here, let me just hide my face here so you can see this, the full screen. There you go. It's lovely. This is really, really where databases are powerful, because you can see I have really useful information that I'm pulling into this blog post in different views. So I can see all that stuff that would normally live in this big old table, but now it's displayed in the way that answers people's questions. Also, super powerful here is this is displaying the most up-to-date information. So if I send this out and Christina is on holiday to New York City, for example, she can come back in 2 weeks and open up this blog post and take a look at the speakers. And if we've changed the speakers, if a new speaker has signed on or someone new has joined, Christina will see the up-to-date list of speakers, which is phenomenal. And in fact, in some of these, she could even add a new speaker if she wanted. So let's jump in and take a look at an actual database so you can see how this works. Now that we've talked about why they exist, let's talk about what we can do here. So databases live in our content tree, just like our other pieces of content, like pages or smart links or whiteboards, or in beta, folders. They all live here in the content tree. And you can see a database is designated by this little adorable databases icon. So for example, I could look at the conferences database. Load that right up there, and it's beautiful. Look at all these conferences that we have planned. I can see all my conferences, when they're taking place, where they're taking place, who the event planners are, what's the current status of the event, the tracks within the event, how many sessions, how many sponsorships. This looks like a table to me, right? This is quite familiar in that way, and I really, really like that. It's like very comfortable. Now, I have other databases here, like a speakers database, and we saw some of the information from this. So here are all of my speakers, and here's their bio and their headshot right there. Nice, big, beautiful smiles here in the headshots. Maybe I want to take a look at the sessions database. This is really cool because I can see all the sessions for all of the events that are happening. I can see the length of them. So you can see I'm using this to organize all the things as a event planner. So what exactly do we do with these? And you can see I have some for tracks and sponsors and sponsorships, etc. What we want to do here, first of all, is let's talk about how we can explore the data that lives in a database, shall we? So first of all, really, really helpful, especially like in this example of being an event planner where you know half of your job is just answering people's questions that they should just go to Confluence to get an answer for. Right here, we have the quick search. So you can say, who is giving the Wisely talk? Okay, perfect. It's Erica. I can answer that question. Or let's see, what's another? Oh my, typing is hard when people are watching. No one has done a study on that, but like someone should. So let's see, what about 60-minute talks? Who is giving a 60-minute talk? Okay, Pablo is giving a 60-minute talk. Thank you for answering that question in the chat, Christina. Yes, databases are available in the standard plan. And actually, they just went GA last week. So they've gone ga. And I'm certainly going gaga for them now. So we have quick search, which is really great, especially if you're looking at a big database to answer questions really quickly. We have some other tools for changing what we look at here, but let's not look at those now because one really simple thing we might want to do is just add something here, right? Maybe we want to add a new session. So I can come to the bottom. You can see this beautiful add entry option here, and it just adds a new row in the database. So I want to create a new session, and this is going to be 6 ways you can be wise. Sounds great, right? I'm going to create a new page about that, and I'll show you how we're making this magic happen in a minute. And this is going to be in the GoodCom 24 conference, and this will be given by Aziza. And look at that, Aziza's picture just dropped in there. This will be given on September 28th, 2024. So you can see I have these amazing selectors here, and this one's actually at 16, and it's going to be, it's a great talk, but we asked her to just minimize it to 15 minutes, and the track is going to be wise planners. So you can see how very quickly I just entered this talk in. Nice, I have a nice caret there in the name. This is all done by the way we set up our database, but you can see how this entry was made so quickly, and it's correct, right? I didn't type in like a date with the wrong format because all the dates are formatted correctly. I didn't pick a length of time that isn't allowed at the conference. I didn't make up a new track for this to be in. I just entered a new session so fast. And I could go to this page here and start entering the information about this session, including like add a link to the keynote file so that we can bring it up on the production laptops when it's ready to go. Do databases work with Scroll PDF Exporter? Yes, Lance, I believe they do work with Scroll PDF Exporter. At least last I checked. Databases has been growing up a bit, and as with every growing experience, there are some growing pains. Like sometimes you wake up and your leg feels like it doesn't work anymore. But I think currently that part of the leg works. That's a good question. I think we can export a database with Scroll PDF Exporter. Yes, I believe so. All right, so let's go back to our lovely database. So we've just added something to the database. And just so you know, you can also delete an entry. You can move entries around. So I can grab this little handle thingy. I could move them around, right? Reorder things. I can also add an entry above or below. So I don't have to add the entry at the bottom of the database. I could do it anywhere. I could duplicate an entry. So if somebody's going to have a second session, maybe we want Pablo to do this same session twice, just at different times, I could duplicate that and then change some values. I can clear all the values here. And of course I can delete the entry as well, just in case, you want to. Also, I could expand the entry here so I can see it in a different view. And this is like just kind of a helpful tool as well. You can see there's a link to this entry. We'll talk about what these links do in a minute because this is hot stuff. All right, we have shown what these look like. We've shown a bit of editing. And by the way, editing for any of these is super simple. So if I'm like, oh, no, this should be at 14:15. And actually, you know what? Maggie is just such a great presenter and we really like this topic. So we're going to give her a bit more time. And we feel like this also should be part of the, not wise planners, it should be part of the clever solution track. You can see how quickly I can change any of these entries. So just like working with a table, I can keep this information up to date really easily. All right, friends, shall we make a database? Claps in the chat if we should make a database. Otherwise, this live stream is going to be weird. I don't really know what to do now. So one of the things that we've realized in planning this event is we do need to keep track of dietary preferences, dietary needs. So we're going to make a new database for that. And you're going to have to struggle through watching me. Okay, we got some hearts in the chat. Excellent. You're going to have to struggle through watching me create a new database. Oh, folders are in beta. Did you know? They are. So I've come up here and I'm going to create a new database. And again, the first thing that we do with any content type in Confluence is give it a good name. We have a whole video of that about naming our content in our Confluence page, on our YouTube channel. This is going to be the meals database. This is where we're going to keep track of the meals that we will make at the event. All right, so we have meals. It's very straightforward. You can see it's dropped into the content tree. I'm going to bring it up here and drop it right there. I think that's the place where I want it. I think that's where people are going to want to find it in the content tree. The nice thing is people will also find that database using the typical search in Confluence, which is fantastic. So you can see I have a few empty fields that were just added here to help me out, but I'm going to start adding some, and we're going to talk about field types because there are different types of field rather than a table where it's just like field. These different types, as you saw earlier, will help people put the right information into the database. So the first field that we need is going to be the title. the title or the name of the dish. Let's be fancy. Let's call it a dish. I think that's what culinary folks might call it. So you can see right now, this is just a plain text field. So people could just enter whatever text they want here, and that's okay. But there's information about the dish that I want to keep in Confluence. What is that? I just got a question from Patrick. With field types, what's the best way to create and manage unique primary fields? The concept of primary fields is not a big one, Patrick. That is a very databasey thing, but not so much with Confluence databases. The best way that we have found at K15T is to actually create what I'm about to create here, which is a page link field type. So I've opened up the edit menu for this field. You can see here's that name I gave it, and here is the field type. And there are so many glorious field types here. And I'm going to come down here and pick a page link. And what this and this is just going to warn me, hey, you're changing this. You good with that? I'm good with that. You good with that, Confluence? Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks. Have a nice day. So I have changed this to a page link, which will let me link directly to a Confluence page. And that's great because I want all the information about this dish to live in Confluence. I want to have a Confluence page where I keep the recipe for the meal, maybe some tips for the people who are cooking the dishes, those sorts of things. I'm missing questions. Let's see. Is it available in standard plan? How does it work with PDF exporter? Well, I'm missing your questions. I don't see them. Oh, good Lord. Can someone please repost those questions for me? I'm Confluence and I are jiving, and when we do, it's very hard to concentrate on other things. Would you drop that back into the live chat for me? I'd appreciate it. So here I have a page link field type, and I'm going to enable page creation here. And what this lets me do is, just like I did when I created that new session page, in this field, when someone goes to enter the dish, they'll be able to select from existing pages in Confluence. So if they know the name of the dish and we already have a Confluence page about it, they can just pop that link right in there, or they can create a new one. So I'm going to create, or let them create a new page, and it's going to live under the conferences page. Currently, I can't nest things under a database. I can only nest things under a page in the content tree. That will be a lovely improvement when that comes. And then this is another cool thing that we can do. You're going to almost always want to display or create a new page using a template that you already have. Thank you, Sammy. There's the question. Was there a limit? Is there a limit to the number of rows that you can add to a database? Sammy just answered, no, there is not. Thank you. Yeah, and the question was limit on number of rows, columns, characters, and external connections. There are not a lot of external connection opportunities at this point, George. You can bring in content from Jira. You can do a one-way sync from Jira, but third-party things are not quite ready at this time. But I'm sure Christina is cooking something up, Christina and team. So when someone creates a new page here, a great idea, I don't have a template, would be to have a meal template that has a section for the recipe for the meal and tips for the cook and people who have made this meal in the past. Unfortunately, I don't, so I'm going to pick this template. But almost always, we would recommend use a page template so that anytime someone makes a new dish and adds it to the database, it's going to have a consistent page design. That's what templates are all about. Thank you so much, live chat, for answering those questions. Another option that I have here that I'm not going to use is you can actually link to multiple Confluence pages. So if this was a database for an entire meal, for example, and not just a single dish, I could make it so people could pick multiple Confluence pages in this single entry, but I don't want to do that. I also have the ability to select a default value. That doesn't make so much sense in this instance, but in some cases, it can be really helpful to have a default value. I'll see if I can find a great reason to do that. And then another thing you want to do for accessibility is add a field description. So this is going to be the dish to be prepared. This is important for accessibility. This is important for our teammates to understand what a field is all about. So try to be descriptive, my friends. All right, so we have one field. Let's add a few more a bit more quickly, shall we? Let's add the serving date. So this is the day that the meal will be served at the conference. And I'm going to go in, and again, I'm going to change the field type to a date. Yes, please change it. And I could set a default value here if I wanted, maybe set it to September 20, or what day is it? I think the 28th is the first day of the conference, so that any new dish is added with at least that date and people can update it. I'm going to check the live chat to see if we have anything going on here. Can databases be embedded and visible elsewhere in Confluence? Yes. We will take a look at databases with smart links. That's what I was showing earlier on the blog post. I'll show you what we can do with smart links to show this information. Great question. All right, so I have a serving date and I need a mealtime. So here is just the time of the day that this will be served. And for this is just going to be a plain text field. And I'm going to add a allergen and preferences. Oh, this is such a good one. So this is going to be a tag field. So we'll do allergens and preferences. That is a very long title. Maybe I'm just going to call this preferences. I'm not a culinary person. I know there's a better word for this, but I'm not thinking of it. So here, this is a tag field, and you saw me use one of these. These are super cool. This is where we're going to create a pickable list. So here we might want to have options like vegan and vegetarian and kosher and halal. I realize I am mixing preferences and then sometimes actual like medically necessary requirements like gluten-free. That can mean a lot of things for a lot of people. Please, I'm not a culinary expert. Yeah. There is a question on uploading CSV files. We will talk about that in a bit if we have time. Uploading CSVs is a great way to import content into a database if all goes well. So we've added some options here, and I actually want to disable tag creation. So this would allow people to add new options. I feel like that's not what I want. Well, maybe. I mean, if I'm taking a call from someone who wants to register and they've called in to say, hey, I have a specific allergy, maybe I'll let them add a tag here. So let's do that. So you can, essentially, people will be able to add a new one of these items as they're entering something into the database. I also want to enable multi-select, right? Because someone might be eating vegan and kosher and gluten-free. So the person adding this entry should be able to select those things. I don't need a default value here. So I would normally add a field description, but we do not have time. So here we go. There's preferences and notes. We're just going to add one more basic text here just for straight up notes from kitchen staff or event planners. This should be served very hot. This should be served cold, those sorts of things. It's just a plain text note. And one of the things that I want to do here is go into the settings, and I'm going to allow line breaks. I want this to be able to be a nice long note and not just a single line, because it's too limiting. So we've created our database here, and we have some different field types. And ooh, you know what? I forgot one. I want to create a user field. And this is going to be the creator field. This is going to be the person who came up with this recipe, this thing, so that anybody can reference them. And I can allow people to select multiple users, but I'm not going to do that. And this is really cool because you can actually reference users in Confluence. So here is our new database that we've made. I know, super exciting stuff. One of the things that we've made sure here, and this is a really important best practice, your database should have all the context people need. We've all created those tables that get too big and then people can't read them. And then we're like, oh, okay, maybe we don't need this column and this column, because yes, they would be valuable in some instances, but then in other instances, it just makes the table too big. We don't have to worry about that with databases. We're putting in all the columns for all the context. Super important. Another thing is, at the beginning of creating a database, you want to be loosey-goosey flexible. Just like with a field, you're trying to figure out what works here. So don't get too committed to anything you've put in here in case you need to change it. So in this example, I'm going to change something because we got feedback that the meal time shouldn't be a plain text field. Like people shouldn't just be entering random times because it wasn't entered consistently. So what the staff requested was to change this to another one of these tag fields. So you can see a warning here because when you change a field type, it will get rid of all the content that's in any of the entries. So if anybody has entered meals here, those will get blanked out, which is why you want to be loosey-goosey and flexible near the beginning of creating a database because you'll lose some content as you go. I would rather have to update 3 meal times versus 3,000 meal times. So I've changed this to a tag field, and this is, I think this is smart because really it's gonna be breakfast or brekkie, as some cool people might say. We'll do lunch. We'll do afternoon snack. We'll do dinner. And I forgot, we also need a morning snack because that's when people be hangry. So I'm going to add that and I'm going to put it here. I can reorganize these options and I want to change it to this lovely red because dinner obviously should be this lovely lavender. And so now we've added items here. I don't want people to add tags because these are all the meals we've got. And then also I don't want to enable multi-select because we're just serving it at one meal. Okay. So you can see how I'm flexibly building the database that I need. And at K15T, we have been doing that forever. In fact, we originally built Confluence databases. It used to be an app that we made and it was acquired by Atlassian. And so we've been working with these for quite some time. We run most of our internal processes off of this. And this is one of the most important things we've learned is start simple, grow and change and adapt, just like you would when you're working with a table. So let's talk about connecting our databases because there are some super cool things that we can do here. And first of all, let's add an entry here, which is a really boring thing to watch. So I'm going to add a dish and it's going to be, I don't know why, if you've ever seen Napoleon Dynamite, which is one of the most scintillating movies you will ever watch. Hey, what happened to my button here? Okay. You're going to do that to me right now, databases? Fine. We'll do tater tots. This is not a good meal, but I'm adding one. All right. So we've created a new page called tater tots. And this is going to be a new meal that is served here. And we will serve this on September 29th. And it's going to be obviously a dinner. And it is vegan. And it is halal certified and it is not gluten-free. So we're not adding that, but it is vegetarian, right? So we can see the preferences that this supports and, serve it hot. And the originator is obviously going to be Erica. Erica created this recipe for the best tater tots you've ever had. So we could add a whole bunch of entries here, but we're not going to be able to do that. So now I can go into the speakers database, and I'm going to add a connection here. And this is a super powerful part of databases. So here we have information about our speakers. I'm going to add a new field called an entry link. And here I want to call this dietary preference. Spelling things and typing things in live is not fun. I'm probably ruining this. I want to connect this to our meals database. And serve them room thank you, Carl. Serve them room temperature or in a pocket. Yes, yeah, that's true. That is where you put them. My bad. My bad. This is meals database. Oh shoot, I've done this incorrectly. No, I haven't. Yes, have I? Uh-oh. I'm having one of those embarrassing situations where you're doing a live stream and then you forget something. No. I've done this wrong. I want to pick a meal. Well, we'll go with this. I flawed this example because I'm not thinking correctly with how this has gone. But a person here, Erica, for example, could select, I want tater tots as a meal. And now we know that that is a meal that Erica would like to eat. I can go back to my meals database now, and because I know there's one person who wants tater tots, I can add a new field here called an entry backlink. And we're going to add this entry backlink, and this is going to be number of meals to cook. And I'm going to connect this to the session, to the speakers database. Where is speakers? I guess I could search for it. There's speakers. And I want a number. So essentially, this is now connected to the speakers database. And this is going, my head is always in the way. I'm so sorry. Why is my head so big? Now I can see a count of the number of speakers who are going to eat this meal. I could also switch this to a link, and this will link to all of the speakers who are going to eat this meal. So I could very quickly see who do I need to prepare this for. And again, the number is really helpful for kitchen staff because they can clearly see how many people are going to eat this. I could go and update the speakers database with the number of people that will eat this meal, and this will automatically update. So this is the power of these entry fields here, is that we can interconnect our databases. And I showed a little bit of that here. No, not there. Oh, tabs, where are you? It's in the blogs. Here in this update, I have tons of interconnections at work. So for example, in the sponsorships, I have, here is the sponsor. I've actually linked the information about a sponsor to the sponsorship that they have. These are two different databases, but this information is interconnected between them. And I've also connected the sponsorship to the event that they're sponsoring. I'm not currently showing that field, but I can. So here's the conference that they're sponsoring as well, which is GoodCon24. So really, really powerful. I could do a whole other database, or a whole other live stream on interconnecting databases, but I can't because I don't have enough time because, well, we should probably do this again, shouldn't we? And maybe we could have Christina on live, maybe hearts in the chat if you'd be interested in having Christina online, and we'll like grill her and also do some cool stuff with databases. So let's do something else, because one of the really important things that we're really doing here is we're making these big tables that no one likes. Sorry, databases, but nobody wants to look at this. This is what we're trying to get away from, right? This does organize all the content, but it's huge. It's too big. All right, we're seeing some hearts. We're seeing some hearts. Christina, there may be some interest. So let's talk about how we could change what we're seeing here to see what we actually need. So we have a couple of options. First, I could change the layout here. So right now I'm looking at a table layout, which is very familiar, but perhaps we want to see a card layout. And this is kind of great because we have these images of people. In fact, I can select a cover image here, and I'm going to select the, nope, that doesn't actually work. I'm going to keep the session title here. That ideally would pick the speakers here, but something has gone awry. I can also use a board view, and this is really interesting. So this would be great for a scheduler. So if I wanted to see which sessions are 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 35, I can see all of my sessions, and I can pick any of the tag fields in the database. In this case, I only have one tag field, which is for that time. But if I had another one for track, for example, I could look at things that way. So with a layout, we can change the visualization. Now, another thing we might want to do, I'm going to change this back to the table view just to kind of help our brains a bit. I could filter things. So I might want to add a filter here, and I'm going to say, I want to look for all the talks where the speaker is Pablo. Not that Pablo's my favorite speaker, but Pablo's given a lot of talks, which is fantastic. And so I can say and or an or. So and it's being given on the date of the 28th. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that date. And now it's only going to show those sessions that Pablo is giving on the 28th. We've filtered it down, and you can see up here that I've applied a filter. I have two filters applied. Now we can do other things, like we could sort sort the results. So I want to, yes, of course I'm showing off, but of course I'm just showing databases off. That's what's so glorious about databases. So now I want to sort these by the time that Pablo is speaking. And you can't pick here whether it's ascending or descending, but you can do it right here. So right now you can see it is descending. I could click this little thingamajig and sort them ascending. And ooh, animation, so lovely. And now I'm sure that I'm seeing all of Pablo's talks on the 28th and make sure we didn't overlap his schedule, which, whoo, we are close. We might need to like look at the schedule because Pablo's gonna have to run from session to session there. Uh-oh, wait, that's a 60-minute. Uh-oh, scheduling conflict, we fail. Another thing we might wanna do is, again, not all this information is potentially helpful. So we could hide a field. So we could come in here and we could say, look, people don't need to see the session resources. They don't need to know if he needs a projector necessarily. The track doesn't matter. We don't need the image right now. We don't need the conference, but we do need the title. So now you can see it's the same database, but I have just squashed the view and I'm only showing the information that matters. John just asked if there's a calendar view. That would be stunning. You could do something like that using the board layout if you had dates set up as tag fields. So it'd be a bit of a change. There's a question on Jira. We'll look at Jira in a moment, what we can do with Jira. Do I want to change this to a card view or do I want to keep the table? Oh, the cards are so nice. I kind of want to keep the cards. We cool with keeping the cards? I think we're keeping the cards, y'all. Let's keep these cards. So here you can see I filtered this down and now we're looking at Pablo view. So what I want to do now is I've answered a question, right? Which is a cool thing. I've answered the question, what sessions is Pablo giving on the 28th in what order? And now I have the answer to that. And that's cool because I needed the answer to that. But what if everybody really wants to know what Pablo is up to? And that's a question that we're going to answer a lot. Well, let's save this answer that we've just created. And we're going to do that by creating a view right here. I'm going to click add view. And I have this here. You can see all of the options that I've already selected are still selected. The view, the filters, the sorting, everything that I've already applied is here. So I'm going to apparently have to make a change to make this work to get the save as view button. So I'm going to say save as new view. And oh, that's a terrible name. Let's give it a good name. And with views, you want to reference the question that you're answering. So in this case, we're going to say, this is Pablo's sessions on the 28th. This is a very specific view, but you can see how the name of this view answers a question that someone might have. And that's great because that's the whole purpose of the view. I'm going to, and I want to change it back to that card layout. I really like that. And I'm going to say update view. Fantastic. And now you can see I have this view here. And really quickly, I could go back and look at all of the entries, or maybe I could look at all of the speakers, or I could look at all of Pablo's sessions on the 28th. This is fantastic. Thank you so much. Databases can be complicated, but really we're just answering questions about big tables. So here we have this great view, and someone asked us, okay, can we share this? Can we display this in other places in Confluence? And the answer is, you better believe it. I'm going to use this option here to copy the link to the view. And this is great. So I'm going to go back into my blog here, where we have lots of useful updates. But the thing that the people, they want to know how to follow Pablo. What is he doing on the 28th? People are Pablo fans, I gotta say. So I'm gonna paste that link. And through the power of smart links, I give you that view. I've pasted that view right into my blog post. I can do all the things that you do with smart links, like resize it. I can move the text around, right? I can wrap the text, yeah, and do all of those things. I'm not going to do that because in this case, it's not looking the way I want it to. Undo, undo. There's also an undo button in Confluence, which is very helpful when you're ruining things like I am. This is super cool. So now anybody can see the answer to that question, not just in the database, but right here in my blog post. I'm just going to update that, and that is fantastic. Now, you might be thinking, but I don't want people making changes, right? I don't want people in this view adding a new session for Pablo because they're not event planners, okay? So we don't want this. So just so you know, we can change that. So tracking down my tabs, I'm going to go back to the sessions database, and we have the ability here to do a few things. First of all, we can lock the structure, which means you can see now people can't add views. We can't get rid of fields here. It makes it so people can't fat finger, catwalk across the keyboard, mess something up. Okay, so now the the fields are sort of locked, and this is a good vibe. Okay, this is kind of like, okay, we kind of got the database the way we want. Let's not let people easily break it. There are also, there are also permissions. They're here, of course. We have the same restriction options we have in any other content type. So I could say only specific users can edit this. So in this case, I'm Maggie. I can say only Maggie can edit this, or maybe if I had a group for event planners, only the event planners can edit this. And then in our blog post, people will not have that option to edit or add entries. So don't worry, not everybody can edit the database. There are restrictions, which is lovely. Now, someone asked a question on importing content. I can't go into it too deeply, but there is an import option here. You can import a large collection of information from Jira. You can import a collection of Confluence pages using this option. You can also use a CSV, spreadsheet type approach and import it that way. If you have any issues with that, Christina and team can help with that, or let me know and we'll connect because it's a little bit temperamental at the moment. So if you're importing from another tool or just from a spreadsheet, that's what you would use. Even if you are importing from an existing table in Confluence. So that's import. We could also export this. So I could say, hey, I want to export this full database as CSV, PDF, HTML. I'm not going to do that because, well, I'm kind of curious. Is anybody else curious? Let's see what happens. Export with the current view. Export that thing. Let's see it. Open this up. It's done. I hear you. I see that. What's new with numbers? Look at that. Oh, that's so nice. Look at that. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, good on you, team. Good on you, team. All right. So we can export our database if we need to move that to another tool as well. Now, somebody asked a question about Jira, and I'm not going to forget about Jira because Jira is fantastic. Let's look at, here we go. I found it. Here's another example here, y'all. And if you have ever been a product manager or a project manager, you will know how powerful this is. I am looking at a blog post here, like we were earlier. This is my update blog post. And here I'm listing all of the projects we are currently working on that are not done. So currently there's just one, but you can see there's a link to the project page in Confluence. Cool. People can go read more. There's a link to the epic in Jira. Very cool. People can hop over to Jira to see the work that we have planned. And the description from the epic in Jira. Ooh, this is really, really cool. So there's a whole bunch of fields that we can add to our databases to allow us to bring sync content in from Jira. And again, this view is changeable. So I could say, show me the projects that are done so we can celebrate. Look at this. We got 2 projects that are done. Oh yeah. So let's take a look at the projects database. And again, We're planning our work over in Jira. That's what Jira is for. But we know that we're doing a lot of the work in Confluence. So we can use databases to organize and connect our work to Jira itself. So I have a few different fields here. The Jira Epic field. This is a Jira issue field that I've added, and I can connect it to a specific Jira issue or an instance, and then I can connect it to a particular, well, in this case, I can just add any issue from the project that I connect. This is super cool. This is a Jira issue details field. And with this, once I've connected a project like I've done here, I can pick any field in the project and display the value of that field in my database, which I'm a little excited about. This is so cool. Forgive me, I haven't added a description here. I definitely should have. But this also supports custom fields. So you can have your database here and display the important information from Jira right in Confluence. So here you can see I'm displaying this description from Jira and the status from Jira. This is super, super cool. So if I go to it's going to be the project here, I can see here is my Confluence page. This is just a beautiful page as we know it. Here is that entry from the database. I added a smart link here, so I can come into the page in Confluence and see directly from Jira what we should be working on. This is super, super cool. We have a question. Can you create reports from databases like graphs? No, you cannot yet, but that would be really cool. Christina, we would like to report visual reports. In fact, the charts support that currently connects to tables, if you could just, I don't know, just connect those up really easily, that'd be cool. So here you can see that I can pull stuff directly from Jira. And let's look at this little page here. I think this is pretty adorable. Here, I can directly see a page that my team is working on. And I have a different database called Project Tasks where I can connect the page that I'm working on with the project that it is involved with and the exact Jira issue that it connects to. So I can start doing my work and see, is this done in Jira? No, it's not. What am I supposed to be doing? And what is the status in Jira? So cool. But the database fun doesn't stop there because I've been showing like big examples, but here is another example of a different way we're using databases here. Right here, look at this, just like this adorable database because a database doesn't have to be big. It can be adorable. That would be a good tagline. Here's a little database that we've made. As part of this project to implement a swag store, we need to update some different systems, and we just created a little tiny database so the team can assemble the different systems that need to be updated. I can really quickly change the view to see, the prioritization, or maybe I want to filter this and only show those things that belong to accounting, right? So again, even tiny databases can absolutely change the way your team works on something. And I have this great little live view and this little tiny database that lives here. And no, I will not use it after this project. It'll be kind of a relic of the past. But I just think it's super amazing that both big or small, I can use databases to do things that a simple table or bulleted list cannot do. And they do not give me the views that I'm really looking for. So friends, we are running a bit out of time, but one of the things I wanted to point out to you is whether you are grabbing the smart link for an entire view, like we did here, or if I go here and I select a single entry and I copy the link for just that entry, these are smart links. So that means you can paste it in a Confluence page or a Jira issue or a Trello card or a whiteboard. Whiteboards, they're great. Or right in the content tree, if you're feeling particularly wild, anywhere where a smart link is supported, any tool, this will display there. So that's super powerful. Again, all of our information lives in one place in this database, and then it's connected all the way out and all the way back in. All right, friends, we are almost out of time. Oh no. Any final questions? Please throw them in now. There have been some amazing questions in the chat. Thank you so much. I wish I could have answered a few more. One of the amazing things about databases is that at this point at K15T, we run almost all of our internal processes off of databases. Like Confluence is our primary tool. We make apps for Confluence, and we made databases originally, so you can tell that we're a little bit obsessed with them. On the content team, we literally control our entire content creation calendar using databases. We actually have an entire series of videos on our channel, which I'd love for you to go check out after this. These are really cool because we go through some of the different examples of literally what we're doing with databases. So you can see how we're managing our projects, planning our events, maintaining internal directories. I'm running out of things, but there's 5 altogether. Check those out so you can see how you could use databases for your teams. Databases is so powerful because it's sort of this sleeping giant. We can literally replace third-party tools, replace or augment third-party tools with databases to do things like event planning or project management. Sarah, how does this look on mobile? That is a great question. It doesn't. Right now, databases are not available on mobile, but I dream of a day where they will be. That would be so, so cool. Yes, not currently available on mobile. Also, let's just test this, but I don't think that it works yet with the dark theme. Oh, no, it's so bright. No, it doesn't work with the dark theme yet, but I'm sure someday Christina's going to be like, you know what we have time to do? Let's implement dark theme. Yeah, so definitely check out our series of examples of what you can do with databases. We'll also be coming out with a best practices video soon where we talk about all of the absolute best things you can do when creating and using databases. Otherwise, friends, thank you so much for joining and hanging out and dealing with a few technical issues here or there while everything woke up and got ready. And of course, join us for another video or live stream as we continue to explore how to use Confluence to share what you do best. Thanks, everybody.